Hello guys, here I am again making a tutorial. This time we're gonna do the panda. Here I have him all ready. This is the goal. We're gonna start by, of course, you need to get a container of sorts to put some water in. You need a paper towel to dry your brushes off, and you need your brushes. Ta-da! I have 3 different sizes. You do not need 3 different sizes. That's just what I like to use. All right, so I'm gonna begin with the background. I have my paint colors here. And I'm just gonna paint right out of this because it's just the plain color and don't need to mix it with anything. I'm gonna use my bigger brush. And I'm just gonna go around and fill in everything around the outside of my panda. I'm gonna work fairly quickly because I have limited time today, but I wanted to get these ready for you guys because I think it'll just be a better experience for everyone overall. I know I learn better visually, and when it comes to art, it's pretty visual. So I'm just doing the best I can to go around my edges. It's okay if I'm a little sloppy on the ears because they're going to be painted black and it will cover, but I want to be a bit more careful around his head because that is white and the white is not going to cover the red as easily. And I'm going to do nice long strokes to kind of smooth out my paint so I don't have a bunch of brush marks. Around his ear, and I like to use the side of my brush because it makes a nice thin line. And I'm using minimal paint. You don't want thick globs. Try to get everything spread out as evenly as possible. That'll help things dry better and the overall appearance of your painting will be better. I shouldn't possibly use a smaller brush in this little nook, but I'm brave. Oh, a little sloppy. That's okay. The paw, again, will be black. We don't need to be too awfully careful. Just get the red filled in. You can always go back in and do a second coat if you're not getting good coverage. Some of my spots look a little bit pinkish just because of the white still showing through from the canvas underneath. All right, so there we go, all done. I'm gonna get my brush cleaned out really well after this because I don't want the color spreading into my white. Because next we're gonna use white and paint the white parts of the bear. So I just swirl it around real good in my jar. And I'll smash it against the bottom just to get deep down into those bristles. You don't want them holding a lot of paint because that red is a bugger. Okay. So I got a little bit of a wet spot there. That's not such a big deal because this will be painted black. I probably am going to blow this dry because I'm working quickly. You guys can just let yours air dry. So now I don't have to worry about my red wet paint getting caught up in my white when I go around the edge there. So on his head, I'm just gonna go around the eyes. I probably should switch to a smaller brush. That's a bit big. See, I got a big old glob. I'm gonna just get that spread out everywhere. Since it's such a big space, I'm gonna paint right over. I'll leave the nose alone, but paint right over the mouth lines. You could still see them through the paint, no biggie. So I'm going all the way around the eyes. A little more paint. This will have a little bit of an outline on the edge, and that'll help clean up some of your line work there. So it's okay if it's a little imperfect. Nothing's perfect. All right, so my paint is still good and wet. That's what we want. I want all this white paint, especially around my edge, to stay wet, because I'm gonna blend in a little bit of gray around my edges. So to make gray, it's very light gray, so I'm gonna just take a pretty good sized scoop of white, put that on my plate. And for black, because to make gray, you add a little black in with some white. This is a very light gray. You don't want it to be very prominent on the canvas. It's just gonna be a subtle bit of shading. So I'm gonna take just a smidge of black out of my cup. I'm just gonna place it beside my white so I have a little bit more control over what I'm adding. So just a little bit of black at a time into your white until you get a nice light gray. Maybe just a little bit more black. It doesn't take hardly any. So there I've got a pretty light gray, maybe a little bit lighter. And I am going to go around his mouth and around his head. So I'm not being too careful right now. Oops, sorry, I just knocked you. I'm not being too careful right now, but I am working quickly because I want my paint to stay wet. Because next I'm gonna just take white paint and blend that out so it's not so prominent. So, clean brush, just white paint. I'll get a nice little spot, clean spot on my plate. And I'm gonna go right over top and spread it out. It's starting to dry already, so it's not moving as well as I would like, but that's okay. I'm gonna just go right over this and spread it out. So that just kind of tones it down. But now we have a nice line on our little mouth and some shading around the edge. Next step, we are going to repeat that same process. We're going to paint this outer area of the bear belly white to start. Just get your white paint on there. And I move fairly quickly just so that my paint will remain wet for when I want to blend the gray in. You can always just add a little bit more white to spots that may have dried. So that's good. A little bit of my gray just going on my edge. I'm gonna knock the camera again, I'm sorry guys. And then I'll clean up my brush quickly. And add white on top to blend it out. And that just softens my line so it's not quite as bold. And if you end up taking too much out and you want to add a little bit more in, just pick up a little bit more gray. You can just brush that right on. There. Happy with that? So our next step, I'm gonna clean out my brush and I'm gonna paint all of my black spots. So my ears are gonna be black, this outside around my eyes, black, nose black, little arm is gonna be black, and the inside of his belly will also be black. So this is pretty straightforward, no color mixing. I'll just scoop out some black on my plate or just right from the container. And I'm gonna paint his ears to start. Again, you want to use minimal amount of paint as you work, because if you really glob it on there, this isn't that big of an area to be able to spread it out. So just start with a little bit so you can always add more. If you do have big globs, you can just kind of scrape them up with your brush and wipe them back on your plate to kind of remove some excess paint. I'm a little shaky. Coffee in my mind is going a million miles a minute, trying to get everything organized for you guys. These kits have been awesome though, the response from everyone. Thank you. I really appreciate you all for this. And I know this has given everybody a little break from being stuck doing nothing, as we're all kind of out of our routines right now. So this is just something fun for everybody to do together. I'm gonna probably have to switch brushes. This is so awkward, my angle of painting this so that I'm not in the way. Sorry. That's not that great, but I'll go back in with my smaller brush and clean that up a little. And I do know that I work fast. You guys can always pause, get the step done, and then just resume and catch right up with me. I like that. That's awesome. Not that I'm going terribly fast right now. Oh, I should be using a smaller brush. All right, smaller brush. I'm gonna just go to the nose for now. Just going back in up here, try to clean up my lines a bit. All right, that's not the best right now, but I'm gonna move on because I gotta paint the the little lion next. Okay. Oh, paw. Don't forget his paw. Paw and belly. Now the black. So he's already starting to look like a panda. A little at a time. Here's the little arm. Go to his little belly. Get in there. Smooth out my globs. All right. So next, we're just gonna make a little bit of pink and do the tongue. And to make pink, it's red and white. We're gonna want kind of a medium tone. So a little bit of red. I'll clean that out because I'm gonna be scooping out of my cup and I don't want to dirty up the whole little bin. Oh, someone's knocking on my door. I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that. Okay, back at it. What was I doing? Pink, make it pink. So a little bit of red and with some white, just kind of make a medium pink. Yeah, I like that. And I'm just gonna paint in this little spot right here, his little tongue. I got way too much paint on my brush. So it just takes a tiny little bit of paint. I'm just gonna spread it around nice and even. There we go. Okay, next, we're gonna go work on his eyes a little bit more. We're gonna paint this outer area just white. Oh, all right, so I put my hand in some wet paint and then transferred it onto his face. All right, teachable moment. So in my dirty water and my towel, probably not the best. If you can get clean water quickly, recommend that. So I'm just gonna kind of dab at it, get it wet, and then with a dry spot on my towel, try to lift off the excess paint. Whoops, you don't really want to put it back down. I'm just gonna try to lift off my excess paint with this damp towel. And that's a lot better. Still not perfect, but much better than what had just happened. I'm gonna just take a little bit of white and just try to clean that up a little bit. there. Like it never happened. Alright, so back to my eyeballs. I try to keep my hand out of wet paint. All right. Next, I'm just gonna paint black inside of the white ring. So we got the black, the white, and now we're gonna do black. And this is the little pupil. And just tiny bits of paint, doesn't take much. I'm just gonna get that little spot filled right in. And you can kind of touch up. I got a mess. I did it quick and I still see little bits of white showing through my black outline or whatever. Not really an outline, but that black outer ring. Since I'm right here, I might as well just get in there. Okay, he has eyes. So you can do this now. I'm gonna wait because ideally you want that black to be dry. We will put in a little white reflective line, but when we go through and do all our highlights, we can just do it then. Next, I'm gonna do all of my dark gray things, and to make dark gray, it is like light gray using black and white, but this time instead of so much white, we're gonna use more of the black. So when you're mixing, you're gonna have a lot more black in your mix than you do white. So we want it to stay really dark, not quite as dark as black. So kind of a charcoaly color. So something about like that. So it's just more black than white in our mix. With the light gray, it's more white than black. So that's gonna work just fine. And I'm gonna place a little bit kind of around the edge of my ears on the tops. I kind of stick to the one side, so it's kind of the left-hand side of the ear. I'm gonna brush a little on the left-hand side of the black in my eyes. A little spot across the top of my nose. I'm gonna brush a little bit on his belly in the black. And I'm gonna give him a little paw. So first I'm just gonna make a heart. It's an awkward position, but I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna do it kind of down here so I have room for 3 little circles for his little toes. So I'm just gonna paint a heart. And then I'll fill that in. There's this little foot pad. And then a circle, and a circle. So he's got little toes. And then I'll just fill those right in. Oops, don't need to clean my brush just yet. We still have a little bit more to do with the dark gray. I'm gonna put like a rough, sketchy outline around his head. I'm not trying to be perfect. I just do short little strokes, work a little bit at a time. Come around down over on this side. I'm gonna do his body. And then I'm gonna go in and define like the mouth part. And to get I'm gonna try to make this line as narrow as possible. So I'm just gonna loosely sketch that in, just to help define that area. And a little bit around the tongue. Okay, dark gray complete. Next, we're just gonna be using a little bit of white with a smaller brush. And I'm gonna put in some quick swoopy highlights. So just a small on the ears. Again, sticking just to the left side. I'm gonna do a small little spot on the nose. I'm gonna get in there and put the reflective light in the eye. And this is just a dash. Sorry, I don't wanna put my hand in that wet gray. I'm gonna put it in the black and carry it over into the white. And it's on the left-hand side of both of the pupils. And I'll add a little white to my paws. I'm gonna do a little swoop down my heart. And then the last little bit is on the tongue. So we just have one more step, and that's putting our polka dots in on the background. This part's fun. Gonna find kind of a medium-sized brush, and I'm just gonna go around and put circles all over the red background of my canvas. So some of them I'm gonna have go off the edge. That way the pattern continues outside of the canvas. If you just put a bunch of circles on the canvas, it makes the pattern stop. So you want to pretend like this is a wall that has polka dots on it, and say you took a picture of it, you know outside of the picture there's polka dots that continue on. Just because you've met the edge of your canvas doesn't mean the picture doesn't continue on. That one's a little wonky. So I'm having some come behind the bear as well, because again, the background is behind him, but the pattern would continue on. He's just in front of it. All right, so I'm just gonna go back through, just give them one more quick once over, just to get some of that red covered better. You can take your time doing this. I'm working very quickly because I'm a little busy today. I just need to get this posted for you guys so you have a nice tutorial. Yeah, definitely, personally, I'd rather watch a video to show me how to paint something than try to follow a step-by-step direction. I mean, it's doable, but this is just so much better. If I can hopefully get it all figured out. get uploaded and all that jazz. Fingers crossed. I guess if you're watching this, I figured it out. All right. Look at those circles. Beautiful. And that completes this painting. I like to sign my name. I'm gonna put it, I like to do it down in this bottom right-hand corner. You do not have to. You can put it anywhere you want. And some people just like to do initials. Some people would prefer to use a Sharpie because it's easier to control. I like to put a little water in my paint because it makes the flow of the paint a lot easier. Just so I can just do it in one stroke. Done. I enjoyed painting with y'all. I would love to see your finished artwork. If you would please, please, please take photos, post to Facebook, and tag Paint at Paint Willy-Nilly. That way I get notified that you've posted it and I can see it. So I'll see you in the next video. Thanks, guys.